Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving into a massive challenge at the intersection of AI and our personal privacy. You've asked an AI to forget you, but how can you really, truly be sure that it did?
It seems like such a simple question, right? But the answer is anything but. When you use your right to be forgotten, you're essentially telling a company, hey, delete my data. But what happens when that data isn't just sitting in a database? What if it's been absorbed into the very brain of a powerful AI? How do you get proof that it's actually gone?
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll talk about what the right to be forgotten even is. Then we'll get into the huge verification problem it creates for AI. We'll look at an early, kind of flawed solution before diving into a really cool new approach called SMS. And trust me, it's a total game changer for our digital rights. Okay, let's start with the big idea here, this foundational concept, the right to be forgotten. You've probably heard of laws like Europe's GDPR, right? Well, they're a huge deal for privacy because they give you, the individual, the power to take back control of your digital footprint. But as you can probably guess, when AI gets involved, this simple request suddenly gets very complicated. And that right there leads us straight to the core technical headache. If your data has been baked into an AI model, how does a company actually make it forget?
Well, the ideal way to do it is something called machine unlearning. And think about it for a second. Retraining a massive AI model from the very beginning every single time one person wants their data deleted, that would be just insanely expensive and slow. So the goal is to find a way to surgically remove your data's influence without having to tear the whole thing down and start over.
But here's the catch from our side, from the user side. The AI is a total black box. We can't see inside. We have absolutely no way of knowing if our data has really, truly been scrubbed. We're basically forced to just trust the company. And that, right there, is a massive gap in accountability. So, to try and fix this whole trust issue, researchers came up with an early solution. And it was pretty clever, but as we're about to see, it wasn't quite perfect. It was called the backdoor method. So imagine you're sending a company a bunch of boxes filled with your data. On just a few of those boxes, you sneak on a bright pink sticker. That sticker is your backdoor. Later on, if you want to check if they've deleted your stuff, you just ask, hey, are those pink stickers gone? Seems pretty straightforward, yeah? Well, not so fast. The researchers behind the paper we're looking at today pointed out a really critical flaw in this kind of thinking. And here is the real problem. The backdoor data, the pink sticker, and your real data, the box itself, are treated as two totally separate things. A company, or its AI, could just get really good at spotting and removing the pink sticker, but leave the actual box, your real data, completely untouched. So sure, you can prove the trick was removed, but you have no proof your genuine data is gone. This massive flaw is what brings us to the new, much more powerful solution that's being proposed. It's called Self-supervised Model Seeding, or SMS. So instead of adding a separate trick like a sticker, SMS weaves a unique, secret seed. Think of it like an invisible watermark, directly into your actual data, before you even upload it. This creates this unbreakable link between the proof of removal and your genuine information. And honestly, this is a huge leap forward. With SMS, you're verifying that your actual data is gone, not just some trick you planted. It works with all kinds of different unlearning methods, it doesn't hurt the AI's performance, and, this is the best part, it puts the power of verification right back into your hands. Okay, so how does this all work in practice? Let's quickly walk through the whole process. It's actually a pretty elegant three-step process. First, you seed your data with your own secret key. Second, the company's AI is trained to learn both its main job and your hidden seed. And then finally, you get to be the auditor. You can check the model for your seed. If you can't find it anymore, you have definite, concrete proof that your data has been unlearned. And this table from the research paper just makes the difference so clear. Look at that. The old backdoor methods, they fail on two huge fronts. They can't verify your real data, and they don't work with the more efficient, approximate unlearning methods. SMS is the only one that gets a checkmark on both. It just works. And the results are pretty stunning. After a successful unlearning request is processed, the model's ability to recognize that user's seed drops all the way down to 0. This isn't just a promise from a company anymore. It's a measurable, verifiable fact that your data's influence is gone. Now, get ready for this, because this part is really surprising. You would think that adding this extra verification step would make the AI a little bit less accurate, right? A little bit slower. But unbelievably, the experiments showed the exact opposite. Now, if you look at the chart, yeah, these numbers are all super close. But the key thing is that the SMS training method actually made the model slightly more accurate than the others. It's a genuine win-win. You get proof of deletion and better performance. All right, so let's zoom out for a second and really talk about why a breakthrough like this actually matters in the real world.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, SMS isn't just some clever academic paper. It's a foundational step towards building AI that we can actually trust. It gives regulators real tools for auditing companies. It gives us, the users, confidence that our choices matter. And it finally turns the right to be forgotten from just a legal idea into something that is technically real and verifiable.
And that leaves us with a really powerful final question to think about. As we keep handing over more and more of our lives to AI, how are we going to make sure our rights aren't just being promised to us, but that they can actually be proven? Technology, in a way, created this problem. But as a solution like SMS shows us, smarter technology can also be the answer.